What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Friday edition of The Squeeze. I am Tyler Connie, and we had a day yesterday. If you follow this podcast / show, if you follow the Best Bets in Toronto series, if you follow any of the picks on Twitter, you went undefeated. I did add a parlay for myself later on in the day, but it was a free bet at FanDuel, so I'm not even going to count that. 7-0. Up over 7 units. So here on the pod, we hit the Boston Celtics plus 134. They won that game by 41 points. It was never, ever close. We hit the St. Louis Blues and Chicago Blackhawks over 6. It landed on 8. If you follow me on Twitter, we also had the New Orleans Pelicans plus 6.5. They won that game by 9. We had the best bet of the day was the Toronto Blue Jays on the money line. They made it interesting, but that hit. We had the Atlanta Braves on the run line. We had a couple player props. Can't go better than that. So take that for what you will, whether or not today is going to stay on the hot streak or it's going to go cold. But we're up over 2 units on the week, and we are heading into Friday. Baseball was so much fun having opening day yesterday. The Jays did not make it easy, or it's sometimes fun to watch the game, but they got the big W, and I'm very happy about that. Going to be sort of picking and choosing with baseball here for a little bit, just as we sort of learn who these teams are, what they're about, the pitching, all that sort of thing. I'm not just going to all of a sudden start laying it into baseball when we've got all this data on the NBA and in the NHL. But I am going to start with baseball today. We've got the New York Mets at the Miami Marlins. I love the Miami Marlins here at plus 100, just straight up on the money line. And the big thing is, so the Mets are dealing with some injuries, right? Justin Verlander is currently out. Starting today for the Mets is David Peterson. Last year he started 19 games. He did come out of the bullpen originally. He went 7-5 with a 3.83 ERA. He started the season, or on the depth chart, he's the 4th starter on the depth chart. But because of injuries, they lost Chris Bassett. Verlander is hurt. He's now stepped up. He's going to be second in command for today, which I don't love. I think the Miami Marlins are still underrated by the books. I have them winning over 75 games this year. I think they can be a 500 team. Jesus Luzardo is going to get the start for Miami. He was 4-7 last year, but he had a 3.32 ERA, so half a run less than Peterson. And I just really like this spot. I think the Mets won last night, yesterday 5-3 in opening day. I think Miami has a nice bounce back day. They're playing at home. A lot of their players are in the World Baseball Classic, which I think is going to help. Same can be said for the Mets, certainly. Obviously, they lost Edwin Diaz because of that. They had Scherzer go yesterday. So I think this is a nice spot here for the Miami Marlins to get a nice bounce back win on day 2. This is a sort of a weird pitch time at 6:40 Eastern. But I think it's the pitching matchup that will be the undoing of the Mets today, and I think the Marlins get it going. We see who this team really is. So give me the Miami Marlins plus 100. That's at bet 365. Now we move to the NHL, where we've got a little bit more data, and we're going to start with the Calgary Flames on the money line. It's a little bit juicy. It's minus 125. But we're at the point of this season where I like looking at the matchups of who really needs a win and who doesn't care, whether it's because they're at the top of the standings or at the bottom of the standings. That's where you can figure out money lines. And then if you have two teams that really need to win, that's where you can figure out sort of totals. So the Calgary Flames are at Vancouver tonight. Calgary is currently 2 points back of the Winnipeg Jets for the final wildcard spot in the playoffs. They've got 7 games left. So does Winnipeg. Vancouver is 34-34. They've got 8 games left, but they are sitting at 74 points. They're 9 points out. It's unlikely at this point, unless they run the table, that they're going to make the playoffs. So I don't think they're going to do that. The Calgary Flames are actually 16-11 on the road. They're a better road team than they have been a home team. The Vancouver Canucks have been they're the same deal. They've been worse at home than on the road. They're 17-18 at home. The Calgary Flames are 16-11. They also have 9 overtime losses as well, which is interesting. But I like the Calgary Flames on the money line here. They're coming off a 2-1 win against LA, a 5-3 win against San Jose. They've won 3 of their last 4 hockey games. And then you look at the Vancouver Canucks, it's actually true as well. But their wins have come against Chicago, against San Jose. They did beat Dallas 3-1, which is impressive. They lost last night, 2 nights ago, to St. Louis 6-5. I think this game is just a little bit more important for the Calgary Flames. I think their goaltending is going to be better. They've got Markstrom and net, who hasn't had the greatest season comparatively coming into this season, but he's still 21-20, and he's still got a goals against under 3. Demko expected to get the start for the Vancouver Canucks. He's 11-13 with a 3.3 GAA and a save percentage under 9. I like the Calgary Flames to get it done. They need a win here to keep pace with the Winnipeg Jets. So give me the Calgary Flames minus 125 at bet 365. Winnipeg Jets, you say? Yes. I'm also betting on the Winnipeg Jets, and the Detroit Red Wings. This game is being played in Winnipeg. The Jets come into this 41-31-2. They're 22-12 at home. The Red Wings 33-32. They're 14-17 on the road. Both of these teams are under teams. Detroit 37-34 to the under. Winnipeg is 50-20 to the under this season. You're getting a number of 6, which I always like because of push potential, and you're getting this for essentially even money, minus 105 at DraftKings. Now, I like this total a lot. The Detroit Red Wings are 6-0 to the under in their last 6 road games. They're 5-1-1 to the under in their last 7 games following a win. Their under is 6-1 in their last 7 when their opponent scores 2 or less goals in the previous game. New York Jets, under 7-1 in the last 8 against the Atlantic. Under 5-0 in their last 5 when their opponent allows 2 or less goals in their previous game. They're both in that same situation. Under 8-2 in their last 10 following a loss of 3 or more goals. Under is 4-1 in their last 5 Friday games. They've got Hellebuck in net tonight. He's got a goals against average of 2.6. He's got a save percentage of .917. And look, Husso's been good for Detroit as well. 24-19, goals against right at 3, and a save percentage of 9. I think that, Detroit's long out of this. They are, 7th in the wild card standings. They're long gone, but same situation for Calgary. Winnipeg really needs a victory tonight, and I think Hellebuck's going to come up big. Detroit might, Winnipeg might score 3 or 4 goals, but I don't think Detroit gets more than 2. So if this is a nice 4-2 final, we still have a push there at the 6 goals. So I really like the potential there. I like the Winnipeg Jets and the Detroit Red Wings to go under 6. That's minus 105 at DraftKings. Let's hope for another clean sweep of a day. So give me the Miami Marlins at plus 100. That's at Bet365. Give me the Calgary Flames on the money line, minus 125 at Bet365. And at DraftKings, give me the Red Wings and the Jets to go under 6 for minus 105. As always, drop a comment if you're fading or following. You can follow me on Twitter at Tyler Cunningham for more picks and props throughout the day. TikTok and Instagram for just the picks portions, and audio versions available on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Happy Friday. Baseball, hockey, basketball, F1, MLS. Let's go.